Picture this, there I am, brush in hand, ready to conquer my first army. Well, the start of an army. Fast forward through hours of painstaking work and I'm left staring at the fruits of my labor, only to realize I'm not really liking this. What some may consider a rite of passage in the world of Warhammer is in reality a nightmare when it happens to you. It's time we embark on a journey of self-discovery and redemption. We'll dive into where I went wrong, how to fix it, and most importantly, how you can avoid this fate entirely. I absolutely adore my Sisters of Battle models. The purplish pink hair, the teal silver armor, it's colorful and slightly synthwave. It's just my favorite. But when I sat down to start these new models, I only had one goal in mind: speed. And that speed is what would eventually be my downfall. These are the novitiates, new recruits facing battle for the first time. I chose them because they can be used in both Kill Team and Warhammer 40k, making them perfect for someone like me who's new to playing. I had this vision, a twist on the box art that would help them look like a distinct unit while also coordinating with my future army. Unfortunately, in my haste, I didn't do a test model and I didn't do a direct model-to-model comparison to see if these models would work together. Doing a test model is one of the most basic steps in army painting, and it's a step I will never skip again. Consider this lesson learned. But just like last time, I don't want to spend forever on fixing these. Well, I do, but my sanity and social life says otherwise. So the goal is to figure out the fastest way to make these models work within my army. Let's go over what I did well. We have the faces, weapons, and veils. They're not perfect, but they're not distracting. The real problem is the armor and fabric. The armor that was supposed to be blue is darker than my coffee on a Monday morning, and the fabric is a rather sad, desaturated orange, and doesn't mesh with the colors I have in the rest of my army. Luckily, all of my problems can be rectified without stripping my model. So with our problem identified, it's time for our redemption arc. This time around, I'm starting with a test model. Test models are invaluable for experimenting with different color schemes and techniques. The number of test models you should use depends on your army size and your specific goals. Fortunately, my test models were quick to complete, which made the process efficient. For the fabric, I plan to apply a layer of hot pink speed paint from Army Painter over the existing orange base color. As for the armor, I'm starting with this teal color and applying 2 layers of highlights on top of it to add the brightness that was missing in my original color scheme. But before I call it done, I'm taking a moment to compare it to my other Sisters of Battle models. There's no way I'm going to spend all this time painting these only to have them not match. They definitely look better. While I would love to add even more highlights to this model so that you could really see them even from outer space, I just don't have the time. So we're just gonna add some edge highlights and call them good. Sometimes good is good enough, especially when you have a whole squad staring at you with judgmental eyes. While having an amazing army is great, there is one thing that is equally as important: how you transport it. This video is sponsored by the Gladius case, the ultimate 3D printable miniature case that revolutionizes how you transport and display your miniatures. Imagine a case you can print at home and customize to fit your collection perfectly. With metal sheets for magnetized miniatures, storage trays for dice, and versatile shelves to fit models of any size, Gladius has you covered. Choose between an acrylic or plastic front to showcase your miniatures in style. Plus, with wall mounting options, it's not just a case, it's a display piece. All STL files are ready to print, so start creating today. Back Gladius now and elevate your miniature game using the link in my description box. Okay, test model complete, let's work on the rest of the squad. In my last video, I did a blue and orange zenithal highlight and pushed those colors even further through layering. This is where I really lost my way in my painting process. My original intention was to paint the armor blue, which would have been more in line with what I'm working on in my current version. However, for reasons I can't quite explain, I ended up mixing a completely different color. I'm still not sure why I thought this was the logical step at the time. If you find yourself getting distracted or confused, there are a few strategies that can help. First, you can make a list of step-by-step instructions. Or you could have your test model right on your desk so that you never forget what you're doing. The most important thing is that you reference your test model frequently. With my blue color, I'm just following my original highlights, covering the entirety of the orange areas with my dark blue, and then working my way up to my lighter colors, just smaller and more towards the top of each shape. I'm painting the top of the breast, the lower curve of the pauldron, the top of the knee pads, and upward-facing arms and legs. I'm also using this darkest blue to cover up any unwanted orange from my previous color scheme. Mixing up my middle color, I'm placing it further down towards the bottom of the pauldron, smaller on the breasts, you get the idea. The key is to leave that border of that previous color to allow for more subtle transition. Since I'm going for speed, these blends won't be perfect. We're aiming for cohesive at arm's length here, not museum quality masterpiece. Which is so hard for me, I'm ending up glazing a little anyway. Using an even a lighter color than before, I'm rolling my brush in paint. Loading the brush halfway, then gently running the side of my brush along the sharp edges of the model. We're talking knee pads, pauldrons, gloves, basically everywhere we layered up our highlights that has a sharp edge. This edge highlight helps add definition to the model and makes them pop on the tabletop. 2 birds, 1 stone. Armor done, let's do the fabric. I'm starting by just running hot pink speed paint across the orange, using the dabbing technique I talked about in this video here. Starting at the top, working my way down, and being careful not to let it pool. I like this color because it still allows that orange zenithal to show through, and mixed with the orange, it turns this rather intense hot pink red, giving me more vibrant models in far fewer steps than what I did on my armor. To add more interest to the fabric, I'm mixing up a 50-50 concoction of my hot pink speed paint with red opaque paint. I'm layering this onto areas I want to be more intense. The edges that flare out here on the skirt, the back of the sleeves that point up towards the sky, etc. Mixing the speed paint with the acrylic paint creates a very nice glaze consistency. This allows me to create opacity and layer up color without losing the original zenithal I'm working off of. It's all about preserving that underlying work while adding that extra oomph. Before I reveal the final models, let me know in the comments, how many times have you repainted a single army?
So here's my before and after. Let me know, what do you think of these changes? I am so happy! They look so much better in general, and they definitely match the vibe of my army so well. It was a bit annoying, but I'm so glad I took the time to repaint these.
If you like what I do, you know the drill. Like, comment, subscribe. You can buy this t-shirt. You can buy anything using the Amazon affiliate links in my description, and I'll make a little bit of money. Thanks so much. I'll see you next time.